This is episode 13, the awesome action-packed alliterative adventure. Of course, with me here is Tom.
And I must say, Ross, I'm impressed. This is the, 12 shows we've done?
13.
13.
I said episode 13.
I wasn't listening to you.
Well, thanks.
Well, not entirely.
Such
But what I will say is, my congratulations, the 13th time you've introduced the show in exactly the same voice.
Yes, because it's a habit. Now I can't stop. Anyways, we're going to be, we're doing a little different thing this episode. We sort of challenge each other to come up with something awesome and action-packed. And
we came up with some crap, but...
Well, I think it's awesome. My part is awesome. I don't know about yours, so...
I'm setting my standards lower so I don't embarrass myself later.
Okay.
I'm not going to be the one crying in the bathroom at night.
That had nothing to do with gaming. Wait, that didn't... moving on, we had a lot of feedback on our last episode. One viewer in particular had a very long email talking about Sluggy Freelance and Viking fighting. First, I'd like to address the Viking fighting. I did email our fan back, Andrew, I believe his name was. I in no way endorse or condone Viking fighting. I have no idea. I honestly didn't really think it was 100% a real school of martial arts. I thought it was like...
a joke website.
Yeah, like Real Ultimate Power, ninjas flipping out. It's Viking fighting. And the guy talking in the interview that I linked to is talking about, ripping the testicles off of people and getting your buddies to beat somebody up. That was his idea of a valid martial art, is beating your enemies up with your drunken soccer hooligan friends.
Oh, the Beowulf method.
I guess. No, Beowulf was old school. He did it on his own.
Naked.
Yeah. True.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's take a moment to get that out of our heads.
So, anyways, I had no idea its validity. I don't care. I just thought the interview was funny. Hell, it was hilarious. Tactical Warhammer fighting.
That's beautiful.
Anyways, next up, of course, the other part was he was the same viewer or listener was a fan of Sluggy Freelance, which I gave an honest and well-rounded critique. That some people might think is a little too critical or whatever because they're afraid of the truth because the truth hurts.
I'm blessed in that I have no emotional involvement in that webcomic at all.
To be honest, and to be fair, I don't think I criticized it that hard. To look at a harsh criticism of a webcomic, you should look up one blog called "Your Webcomic is Bad and You Should Feel Bad." That guy, John Solomon, he fucking hates webcomics that are not... I mean, he just goes on for paragraph after paragraph spewing bile and hatred in word form about these really awful webcomics. And I am so much nicer than him.
Well,
I don't actively wish the Sluggy Freelance guy death.
Well, I understand.
But anyway...
But we have a special guest with us tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
The person I mentioned, the Sluggy Freelance, on behalf of, he's here with us. You will recognize,
wearing a black Spider-Man t-shirt
with a Hawaiian shirt over it.
Hawaiian, yeah, and his corporate ID badge on his belt.
Yes, soulless corporate person that he is,
and his neck beard.
Yes,
it's too big to be a goatee. You have to admit that. Anyways, yeah, you could speak. You are allowed to speak now.
But even though we can't. But anyway, he is here to. Aaron is amazing. Aaron is here to defend Sluggy Freelance.
Yep.
And confront Ross on his critique.
Right. And I'll let him speak. I'm not going to just interrupt him. So.
We will wait. We'll wait till his rebuttal is over.
Yes.
So I'm going to get up and allow Aaron to take my place briefly.
You could just have him sit next to you and turn.
No, I'm going to go get a drink, and I want to be comfortable while listening to this.
All right.
Here comes Aaron.
All right. They're making this transfer. Tom's standing up. Aaron's walking over. Tom's walking over to the kitchen. All right. He's looking at me like I'm a dick. And commentary over. Aaron.
Thank you for the blow-by-blow, Ross.
Yes.
Just giving into the response of Ross's critique of Sluggy Freelance, a webcomic which I've come to hold dear over the past year that I actually got to read it. I wanted just to give my opinions of what I like of it particularly, and then give Ross a chance to rebuttal to what I say. When I initially came to it, yeah, I will admit the art form of it and what Pete Abrams, the guy who draws it, wasn't really that great in the very beginning, but it's evolved over time. It's actually become a lot better. And also, one of the nice things is that over time, if you had to put any filler in it, you saw that he actually do some really cool stuff and is actually a talented artist. Second of all, the storylines I thought were immensely interesting to what I've seen in any other webcomics that were like, really the only thing I can really draw from right now is probably Control-Alt-Delete, a couple, what's the other one? I'm sorry, I'm completely blanking
Penny
on what
Arcade, PvP.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm a bad person for not remembering
That's
that.
fine.
That it seemed to... Pete Abrams seemed to actually do storylines where it had some genuinely funny just bit comics and character stories that slid into really serious ones and back without ever losing continuity between the characters. And like I said, and all the characters at least have progressed over time, with a couple of exceptions. Ross, I agree with you on a little bit that characters like Bun Bun have not really progressed that much, or Kiki, but I think they are meant to be kind of static jokes within the universe of Sluggy Freelance. Other than that, I thought it's actually an interesting project that I'm glad has gone on for as long as it has, and hopefully we'll do more.
Okay. It's not by no means great. There are exceptional comics with high standards of art, like Minus, which I will be linking to, Wonderella, or The Abominable Charles Christopher, which I linked to in our last episode, are exquisitely drawn. And so, again, they're not as popular, but...
Granted on those, if I can interrupt for a second, I'm not familiar with those myself, but are those webcomics updated daily, or are they just like once a week?
No, I believe most of them are updated once a week or once every few days.
Okay, because at least you're right that where if some webcomics have extremely good standards of how they do their art, but yet also have to bring into the factor that Sluggy Freelance is a weekly webcomic, so usually, like I said, you'd have to put a strain on somebody who's just trying to crank it out along with the storyline every day,
right?
Every week.
But also, but that's a choice by the artist, and I think whether he updates daily, 3 times a week, or a week, I think, that's the artist's choice. And if he's sacrificing, I would rather have quality over quantity. Also, the thing is, Sluggy Freelance has been going over for 10 years now. I mean, there are Russian novelists who have less voluminous bodies of work than Pete Abrams. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Sluggy Freelance. I mean, Van Gogh painted for 10 years. Then he killed himself. And look at what he did in those 10 years. I mean, you have Bun Bun going... he's a static gag, a reoccurring joke that's been going on for 10 years. I think most of my problems have to do with the fact that it's going on for this long. I mean, Marvel and DC, like I mentioned last time, they have these, all this incredible baggage and continuity and stuff, and they occasionally wipe the slate clean. And it's just... I can't... I'm just sort of going over the points I think that I did last time, but I mean I appreciate it. But if you look at these works at some distance, not as a fan, but just as a more critical eye towards these comics, you realize that there are better works out there. There are better strips. There are better storylines in all measures than Sluggy. And I don't know. I got tired of seeing the same thing after following it for 2 years. I got tired of seeing the same thing over and over again. So I like seeing new stuff in my comics.
Honestly, I think there's a lot of new stuff that usually comes out because there are multiple storylines that kind of intersect with each other in the whole story.
Right.
You have things that are repeating, like the Kiss Key stuff with the demons.
Sure.
It's like the vampire such a not
right.
But he does put in new stuff that kind of... Well, I would use a lesser phrase, turns it on its ass, like the Cassandra's House storyline, which I never saw expecting, and Ocean's Unmoving, I never saw that coming.
Unless, again, I haven't been following it, so I can't be following it. But we could go on and on about this all day. You have defended the honor of Sluggy for the Sluggy people, so good for you for fighting the good fight. But I'll just let the listeners out there determine what they think is a valid or what is a good webcomic. The Abominable Charge Christopher, last thing, got nominated for an Eisner, which is the highest award that any comic can get for best digital comic a few days ago. So anyways, we need to be moving on. So thank you for coming in. And Tom, you can come on down. There we go. Now we're having the transfer. Sort of moving around. Tom has his Diet Vault Zero, I'm sorry, which is totally extreme, and Aaron knocked over his notebook, Tom's notebook, so Tom looks so happy. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the Goblin Broadcast Network for putting us on their network and the traffic that they bring. They're great. If you want to check out really great RPG podcasts, go to the Goblin Broadcast Network. How you doing there, Tom?
I think you and Aaron are both assholes. There.
All right.
I shook things up.
Yeah, you're totally.
I'm edgy.
You're calling it like it is, aren't you, Tom?
I keep it real.
You should be on cable news, talking of being angry and ranting at things.
That's why my hero is Henry Rollins.
You could be the Henry Rollins of cable TV.
Of gaming.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Totally there.
Yeah. Now you just need to be a, heavy metal musician and
he's a rock musician.
Get some tattoos.
Yeah, needles scare me.
We'll work on it. All right. The music this episode was brought by Joe Hero, the secret, just what Bruce Campbell did. It's a good song. I like it. So you hear a little bit of it. You'll hear the rest of it at the end of the episode. One or two last things to mention. We mentioned Dungeon Crawl as a shout out in a previous episode. I finally beat it after probably 5-6 months of playing. Yes. I escaped with the Orb of Zot with a Mountain Dwarf Fighter, which is about the easiest class and race combo to beat it with. And it is a ridiculously hard game. It is sadistic, and it's only going to get... there's a new version coming out in a couple months with vampires and as a playable race and all kinds of neat stuff. It's a fun game.
Well, hoopty-damn.
So if you're having a problem with it, play a Mountain Dwarf Fighter or a Deep Elf Fire Elementalist, because sticky fire equals napalm. That's a spell.
But just so you know, you beat that game, you escape with the Orb of Zot, you will get laid. Isn't that
laid
right,
like Mothra's egg.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, the orgies I've had. Anyways, hi, Mom.
She knows.
Yes. Anyways, so let's bring
the actual topic of
the topic.
The topic of the show up.
Yeah, 13 minutes in. Imagine that.
We're awesome at this.
Yeah, we're just great. What we did is each of us came up with a list of 7 topics, 7 themes, ideas, whatever you want to call them, and we gave them to each other, and then we had to take this, the other person's list of 7 things and make something game related out of it.
A campaign, an idea, a setting, and something.
Yeah, and so I came up with 7 items, and Tom came up. And Tom, do you want to do yours first, or do you want me to do mine first?
You do yours first.
Okay, fair enough.
Shall I list the 7 things I gave you?
Yes.
Yes. I told him his should include the D20 system.
Right.
It should include an espionage, a nuclear threat of some kind. Okay. I was not specific, but a nuclear threat.
Okay.
The Ural Mountains in Russia.
Right.
Sentient dinosaurs.
Right.
And it was a multi-ethnic merc team.
Yeah. You didn't you have a Nazi warlord in there? I think you gave me Nazi warlord. Because I put a Nazi warlord.
Yeah, actually, that's right. I did.
Yeah.
Nazi that was the other thing.
Yeah. Because I would be like, where did I come up with Nazi warlord if not for Tom? All right. Anyways, so given the D20 system, I wasn't going to make an entire new game. But I decided to make a campaign setting, sort of.
Oh, now I remember. I did change one of them. Because I remember the last one was unusual sunspot activity.
That's it. Yeah.
That's right.
What would you do? What were you imagining? Did you have any...
Well, okay, some of them I made too easy.
Yeah.
For me. So I would imagine, especially espionage, a nuclear threat, and the Ural Mountains, that you could put those 3 together. Any idiot with any knowledge of the Cold War could have put that shit together. The multi-ethnic merc team is really just my thing of started in Aliens, and now every action game and movie has to do.
That's true. I was playing Rainbow Six Vegas. There's a white Southern guy, a black British guy, and Asian with mid-Atlantic, no accent. So
I've been playing Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. There's the British SAS team. There's the American Marines with the black guy. There's a Russian team.
Yeah.
It's there. You have to do it almost by law.
Yeah. Or at least that's...
But as for the D20 system, you could use anything. However, sentient dinosaurs, I thought, was something that could throw you for a loop. And the unusual sunspot activity, to me, that seemed too wonderfully perfect.
Yeah, I sort of latched onto that. That's a good thing, because I heard unusual sunspot activity, and I came up with psionic entity living inside the sun that wants to exterminate the human race.
Simpsons did it.
Yeah. Probably. I haven't seen all the episodes, but that's sort of where I left off on. So basically, it's a D20 campaign taking place in a vast Soviet complex of research laboratories and military bases under the Ural Mountains,
Right.
Basically, the way it starts, the sun is alive and it has a conscious mind, and it wants to kill us. The death throes of Atlantis created a psionic entity inside the heart of Sol millions of years ago. This entity is now symbiotically connected to the sun. It gazes down upon us and knows only hate. Hatred for our pollution of the electromagnetic spectrum, for our constant littering of the solar system, and most importantly, for the freedom we have to move about, breed, and to actually die. It hates us. It is Omega, and it is the end of days. So that's
nice.
That's the hook. Basically, the backstory is that a team of Nazi scientists first discovered Omega in World War II after extensive experimentation with salvaged Atlantean super technology. That's a reoccurring theme because, again, you said espionage and I heard Atlantis super tech. So
that's a common practice among people like you.
Yeah, the Atlantean technology and the alien science known as magic. Hitler ignored them. However, Otto Skorzeny, the Nazi super commando, did not. He decided that the Third Reich was less important than humanity, and along with a select cadre of researchers and mercenaries, built an organization to stop Omega. They infiltrated the Nazi regime and stole as much Atlantean super tech as they could, and they realized they couldn't kill Omega, but they could destroy its mind, basically lobotomize it. That's their plan. And so Otto Skorzeny faked his own death and used Atlantean super technology to become immortal. And he became an immortal Nazi warlord to fund his organization dedicated to stopping Omega. And, they hauled off as much super technology after, World War II ended as they could, but the Allies and the Soviets took most of it. And so they, the organization, Otto's organization, infiltrated both sides in order to figure out what they know, because they needed as much Atlantean super tech to really stop Omega as they could. Now, after the fall of the USSR, the organization swept through looking for pieces of Atlantean super tech. Sadly, most of it had been dismantled for reverse engineering or was destroyed by one side or the other during the Cold War. 1 month ago, the sun began to flare up. Most of the world saw it merely as an unusual sunspot activity.
Ooh.
Yeah, but the organization, they knew better. Omega was stirring soon to act. One massive solar flare affected Earth. Omega was trying to reconnect with the ancient Atlantean energies it felt when it was created. This in turn triggered a reaction from the world's last cache of Atlantean super technology deep in the Ural Mountains. Soviet researchers knew that Atlantis had seen Pangaea, and elements of it still remained buried in the heart of the Ural Mountains. I actually looked this up on Wikipedia, and so that
if it's on Wikipedia, it must be true.
The Ural Mountains was formed something having to do with Pangaea. That's okay. I saw the Pangaea in the word. That's basically the extent of my research. Anyways, they built a massive science city to conduct all of their Atlantean research and excavated many relics from deep tunneling inside this mountain. However, one disastrous experiment in the 1980s cut off the entire base. No survivors escaped. The Kremlin locked the doors, afraid to find out what happened. This massive loss of technology and brain power and manpower eventually triggered the collapse of the Soviet Union, or helped to, so it contributed. In truth, the Soviet researchers found thousands of dinosaurs frozen in stasis chambers. When they awoke, the dinosaurs simply activated previously undetected Atlantean defense systems and proceeded to exterminate the impudent human intruders. Millions of years ago, the Atlanteans wiped themselves out due to genetically engineered superviruses, except for a small group of scientists in isolated shelters. They transferred their minds to the only possible vessel that could contain them, the indigenous dominant life form, dinosaurs.
Oh, yeah.
So they knew that they would eventually a more suitable species would evolve, one that they could use as a new template for their own species. Unfortunately, a lone Atlantean scientist saw this and decided that his own people did not deserve to live. He would create an ultimate entity programmed to exterminate the Atlanteans whenever they arose again. Obviously, this was created Omega. So Omega's stirring because of the use of Atlantean super technology, and the Atlantean super technology has been triggered because of now the sapient dinosaur Atlanteans have spent 20 years trying to engineer human Atlantean hybrids so they can transfer their minds in and get rid of their clumsy animal bodies. Omega has detected them and launched the first attack, the solar flare, caused a leak in the surface monitor robot's nuclear core near the surface of the Ural Mountains. The Russian government and NATO detected the nuclear leak. Skorzeny is sending in a multi-ethnic mercenary team to investigate the leak and uncover the secret beneath the Ural Mountains. So that's the basic campaign, and I imagine this as sort of like a massive, you start at the top of the Ural Mountains and work your way all the way to the bottom, getting weirder and weirder and weirder as you find more and more elements of discarded Atlantean super technology, dinosaur hybrids, some of which have gone mad due to the, going from switching to new bodies and millions of years in stasis chambers, to the Atlantean human hybrids, to all kinds of crazy stuff.
Wild and crazy stuff.
And all the way, finding little trace elements like, some Soviet researchers and scientists and other stragglers humans have worked their way in the compound over the years. It's sort of like, at the top there's like nothing, then there's this whole weird ecosystem. So kind of
like Prussian farmers.
Hell yeah. That are mutants, man.
Oh, yeah. Mutant Prussian farmers.
It'd be kind of like a modern-day dungeon crawl, pulp action, Indiana Jones meets sci-fi, super tech kind of jazz and stuff.
With every nation on Earth represented.
Yeah, because it's multi-ethnic.
Multi-ethnic.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so that's my idea, and I would call it Shine Down. Shine down on me, Omega. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So what do you think?
Well, I expected weirdness from you.
Too much? Not enough weirdness?
No, I think the weirdness actually fits quite well.
Okay.
Again, I think because most of the stuff I chose was not weird, just a few that were weird. So the level of weirdness is correct where it needs to be. Now, if I gave you almost all weird shit and like one thing like stock market or something,
yeah, that would be kind of hard to connect the dots.
Yeah, so I think the weird would have been a lot worse there, but here I think the weird works just fine.
Okay.
For the combination of stuff, and this is a dungeon crawl. I'd want to have my power armor wearing super agent go into.
That's true. The Otto Scorsese's organization does have super technology, so you could be Iron Man or whatever. So you could be running actually in Mutants and Masterminds, not necessarily D20 Modern. That's a good point. I hadn't even thought of that. Awesome. So, what would you change about it? Would you change anything? How would you?
Actually, I would have actually changed one of the things I gave you. I would have changed the Ural Mountains to some other mountain range.
Okay. Any reason?
Just because I think espionage, nuclear threat, and Ural Mountains.
Pretty much, yes. Soviet, Cold War.
Soviet, yeah. And I was just thinking of a mountain range that wasn't the Rockies or Ural Mountains has happened to come to my mind. If I think, I would have thought the Andes, or some other mountain range in the. Yeah,
if I'd done the Andes, I probably would have tied it to like a Mayan or some other civilization,
or Colombian drug cartels.
Well, maybe. With the existing thing, how would you want to see it played out? I mean, like. Would you?
I'd like to have all kinds of freaking options, the things that could happen to the players.
Okay.
That would totally change,
Okay.
The play. Like make the technology, have technology where they can pick up the equivalent of a Yithian lightning gun.
Okay.
And carry it around with them. Or
you like the Yithian lightning guns?
I have a love-hate relationship with them.
Yeah, they gave you cancer, didn't they?
Yeah, but I killed 2 flying polyps with it.
That's true. That's good.
And I regained a whole bunch of sanity because of that. But I died because of radiation poisoning.
Yeah, that's.
But I died a sane man. We've lost Aaron over there.
That's actually an accomplishment in Call of Cthulhu. Dying sane.
Yeah, horribly but sane.
Yeah. Okay.
Or like. One of the sentient dinosaurs tries to do what's mind switch with the player and succeeds, and now you suddenly have to fight in the kind of clumsy body of some dinosaur.
Mind transferring. I tried to go for a different route than the obvious genetically engineered animals
or alien dinosaur like aliens or something.
Yeah, I wanted to do something that would be a little different than the standard.
Yeah, I agree that if you'd done the aliens, I would have said that's not to me. I've read Leonard Nimoy's Primordials comic.
Okay.
That's exactly what it's about.
I see. I haven't, but you're a big fan of the dinosaurs.
And when I was younger, I watched Dinosaurs in the 80s.
Was that the one where they had armor and little missiles that could shoot?
No, that was Dino Riders.
Silly me. I mean, missing.
Well, I wasn't bragging on you because you didn't know.
No, the Dino Saucers and Dino Riders. I mean, geez, how the hell could I mix something up like that? I mean, wow. I didn't even know that there were 2. I thought there was just
I'm not judging you, Ross.
All right, Tom. Now I gave you a slightly different set.
Yes, you did.
And I tried to be a little challenging, and I don't know.
You succeeded in that, you son of a bitch.
All right, do you want to read them off?
Yes. Okay. The 7 you gave me were westerns.
The genre.
The genre of westerns. The Yakuza.
Yeah. Japanese mafia.
Pacifism.
The philosophy.
Metal music.
Yeah. Heavy metal, any type of metal.
Heavy metal music, yeah. Societal changes.
Societal
change mechanic.
Yeah, game mechanics. Like some game mechanics so the players can actually change society for the better or for the worse.
Yeah.
I've actually seen an RPG that does that.
Okay.
Okay.
And tabloid journalism.
Yeah.
And collaborative scenario design.
Yeah.
That was actually the easiest thing to throw in.
Really? And by that, I mean, of course, that the players have some input in the creation of the scenario. So... okay, and other than that, I was...
Well, okay. So, the system I decided to use, since you weren't specific on a system, I decided to go with my Mutants and Masterminds. It's the system I know the best. I came up with a scenario.
Okay.
So, my scenario is a heavy metal band.
All right.
Not obviously I kind of modeled it off Death Clock, but not actually Death Clock, but like a really big heavy metal band.
Okay.
Is on tour in Tokyo.
Okay.
However, their music is causing severe disruptions in Japanese society. Businessmen are no longer getting up to go to their jobs. They're dressing in spikes and leather. It says beating their children and drinking beer.
Well, they already do that, Tom.
But when they're supposed to work.
Oh, oh man!
It's like they're no longer taking their shoes off. They're putting on boots with chains and walking around their houses.
Oh snap! All right,
and the trains are not running on time.
Oh.
All kinds of shit is happening.
Okay,
and they're realizing that this music is being affected, either known or unknown, by the band, by a supernatural entity from feudal Japan who was thwarted during the Divine Wind.
Okay,
that thwarted the invasion of Japan.
So it's a Mongol spirit, or is it a samurai spirit?
It's a Mongol spirit.
Okay, the Mongols are snap.
It's a Mongol spirit.
Okay, all right, I'm digging it.
Through this music, wants to finally achieve its goal of destroying Japan from within.
You know what you should call the band then? The Horde.
Ugh,
yeah.
good.
Right. Okay. All right. So the Horde is tearing shit up with their music. All right.
So they realize, America, going through a massive recession, realizes they need Japan to be a strong economy.
All right.
And they figure the only way they can counter this threat is to send music that is the opposite of metal.
Okay.
And that is Western music, country Western music.
Okay. All right.
So they send the most famous country band.
Okay.
To Japan.
All right. The Texas Cowboys.
However, they are not supernatural. They are not supernaturally powered. So, a shaman, a Indian shaman, summons up a spirit from the Old West.
Okay.
To empower their music, their country music, as they go in to face off with this heavy metal band.
All right. I'm digging it.
And so. both bands start playing against each other.
Battle of the bands. I love it. All right.
And Japanese society could go either way.
Okay.
Depending on who's currently in control, whose mojo is powering the music.
Oh, okay. So the players are the band themselves, or are they helping the band?
They're helping. It's like the players are helping the country band.
Okay.
It's like, or they could, of course, decide fuck this and go over to the metal band and serve the horde.
Okay, so they get to choose. All right.
And so the players must do that, and then I create a system to showing exactly how which one is currently in control. Okay. Depending on which one's in control,
societal change. All right.
Depending on which one's in control, society could be starting to function again or right back to utter chaos.
Okay.
It says, however, our American tabloid journalists are going nuts over this.
I would imagine.
And so they send their best tabloid journalist in, who happens to be a minor demon with the power of invisibility and suggestion to get the story.
Okay.
And his presence there starts fucking things up.
Okay.
Because suddenly there's now a third thing pulling on this. So now and then sometimes Japanese society starts becoming really intrusive on other people's business, nosy, and making up shit that's not true.
Okay.
This is all once again causing the things to be torn apart.
Okay. All right. I think you got everything except pacifism so far. So
Pacifism.
Oh, and collaborative scenario. All right.
Well, collaborative scenario design is really that's just going to be who the players decide to go with.
I see. So they get to choose who the good guys and who the bad guys
exactly.
are. I see. So what about pacifism? How's that working?
Pacifism is it's a rule that no one can actually be killed.
Players can't just kill them.
Because, they will actually either be arrested.
Right.
Or mauled to death by hordes of angry Japanese metal people.
Okay, so it's a legitimate battle of bands, not we're just gonna roll initiative, bitches. Fuck the music. All right.
Because this is a battle for the soul of Japan, not the population.
Okay.
The population will go to whoever wins.
Wow. I have to admit that is something I did not expect at all. I was
Pacifism was the hardest thing to throw in there, honestly.
I know. I figured because violence is pretty much the de facto conflict resolution method in an RPG. So I was like, you know what? What would be a real challenge in anything? Make it a pacifist. Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought, I thought if I did Western music instead, that
that's a little bit. I mean, I said the Western movie stories aren't, but I'll accept that. I think that's a legitimate because you can make them cowboys. You can make them a cowboy band.
And also it was like a kind of a cowboy spirit from the Old West that the Indians empowered them with.
And besides, it's kind of a showdown at high noon. Shootout at the OK Corral when you have the ultimate battle of the bands.
Except it's in the middle of Shinjuku. So
yeah, there you go. Where I've been.
Yes. For those playing the home game, Ross has been to Japan. Praise him.
Yes, whoopity-doo. Anyways, I love the basic premise. Do you want to know what I would have done if I was given?
Do tell.
All right, I was actually going to make a whole new game, a new RPG. Basically, the idea would be set in some Western that never was, a samurai Western era, or sort of a post-World War II Japan, or some sort of Western area where the Yakuza are hanging out. Could be in America, could be in Japan. It doesn't matter. The idea is the Yakuza control everything, make society corrupt, and that the players either have to change society for the better to get rid of the corrupting influence of the Yakuza, but the Yakuza have a monopoly on violence. They can't use violence against them. So they swear to be pacifists and change it peacefully to show that there's a better way. And the way they do that is either through the power of the press, tabloid journalism, muckraking and all that jazz, or B, through the power of metal music and make everything brutal and extreme. And
brutal.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's what I would have done basically, and then have a couple of game mechanics for class. That would have been the basic idea. But I love this idea of the Mongol horde deciding to get vengeance through heavy metal music. That's,
with a Yakuza sponsored concert.
Yeah. So what's the Yakuza's angle in it? Why are they wanting to bring about the downfall of society? Or
they're not.
They
just wanted to bring in a hot American band.
I see. So the horde is American.
Yeah. That, and I thought about doing stuff that also they also did as an excuse to bring all kinds of people together so they could secretly start trading in drugs and whatnot. But that kind of eventually just took, as long as I said, a Yakuza-sponsored concert.
Right.
Everything else could just take a backseat to the war, chaos, and supernatural shit going on.
True. I think you got the basic idea down, and I'm... how long would you imagine this scenario to be? It'd be like...
well, I just figure like a 2 or 3 session game.
2 or 3 session game. A little
like getting
not
like,
a full campaign.
It's like an arrival there and getting acclimated to Japan, especially if they're not from there.
Right.
And then it's like, and finally, getting close, trying to get close to the to the band, which is rapidly becoming a sea of shit.
Right.
And then finally, then deciding who they're going to support, who they're going to go with.
Yeah, you should. One of the things that would make this really great is like setting up tables or something to show the changes to Japanese society depending on which guy is which band is influencing them the most. The more metal it becomes, the more likely they're to be attacked by street thugs in the street, or that there will be more
riot zone.
Yeah. But on the other hand, if the Cowboys take influence, that people start wearing 10-gallon hats, rattlesnakes start appearing in the streets for some
tumbleweeds,
reason. Tumbleweeds, yeah.
And
old time piano music.
And if the demon tabloid journalist takes over, just random weird shit.
Yeah.
It starts to rain frogs or something, and
there you go. People start believing in the Indian gods, like the fox or something like that. All kinds of crazy stuff. So, that's a good effort. I like this. I think it is awesome and action packed. Yes. So we'll be back. Tom, you do not have a letter.
I regrettably do not have a letter. I do have a valid reason this time, not because we're giving a tribute to Gary Gygax and I didn't want to say tit balls in front of him.
Right.
No,
it's spirit.
To his spirit, because he is watching us right now.
Pretty much.
But no, unfortunately, my computer hard drive is dying, and I can't access anything on it right now.
And you call yourself a geek. You let your computer... That happened. Yeah.
Yeah, I let it happen, Ross.
Okay.
Everything I touch dies.
Okay.
I just touched your laptop.
It's a Mac. It can survive worse.
It has a curse protection?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Apple can. Woo! So we'll be back in a second with the anecdotes and shout-outs.
Word.
Excuse me, Captain. How can I get aboard the Sinister Adventures and travel the Razor Coast with you salty dogs?
Why, this is the finest pirate ship ever to slash the briny blue. You can't join our crew without the password.
Is it Dark Whispers?
No, it isn't, you jellified monkey meats. Dark Whispers is our official podcast, and you can hear it on site at sinisteradventures.com.
Did you just call me a jellified monkey meats?
Oh, Sinister Adventures is sailing your way. Not high prices to pay. Buy their fun booty and buy it today. Or fueled by a loneliness and desperation only a sailor can truly know. We'll do brutal things to your farm pigs not imagined on land or sea.
And we're back. So now, of course, we have our shout-outs and anecdotes. And
we do indeed.
Yes. I've got 4, actually, this
you're
week.
smoking.
Yes. Well, there's only one that I've encountered recently, which is that's actually a New Yorker article, which is just... has nothing to do with gaming, but I found it really, really well written and just really fascinating. It's called The Secret Life of Elevators, and it's about elevators and more than you ever wanted to know about elevators. It talks first about this one guy who got stuck in an elevator for 41 hours, and there's a security camera in the elevator. The security guards didn't notice. I mean, there's time-lapse video of it on the side of this guy just sort of bouncing off the walls, trying to get out and... basically, doing everything, thinking he's going to die of thirst or something because he's stuck in this elevator. The lights are never off. And then it talks about the industry and everything else about it. But the way it's written, it's just really fascinating. It makes you think about all the small things in life that you never pay attention to. And, these... there's like one company that does like 80% of the elevators in this country, Otis. Mm-hmm. So like every time you're in an elevator, it's pretty much an Otis elevator. And... I don't know. It's just a really good read. I mean, it's just fascinating stuff, and I think everyone should read it. It's just good writing. Okay. I mean, you don't see it. So there you go. See,
Word.
Good writer can make even a mundane subject like elevators really exciting. Do you want to do one of yours next, and then we can...
Yeah, I'd just like to do one to an old video game I just recently rediscovered, F-22 Raptor.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of a flight simulator from like 2000, something like that, early 2000.
Yeah.
And it's really a generic, fighter sim, take out, there's like 600,000 keys you have to memorize for piloting.
That's a typical flight simulator for you.
Yeah, but the one thing that made this stand out in my mind is, of course, you can choose your weapons. You can actually choose to load yourself with a tactical nuclear bomb. And that alone...
A bomb or a missile? Or I guess it doesn't matter.
It's a parachute drop bomb.
I see.
And I have to say, since you can set up your own missions, and you can fly over some major world cities, most of that, Baghdad, and obviously mostly Middle Eastern cities, but... The fact that you can fly overhead and just drop a nuclear bomb at will anywhere, I was like
game developers, you need to be listening to this.
I swear to God, that's all I need right there.
It's not graphics, it's not gameplay, it's dropping nuclear weapons on cities.
Or when I make my airstrike target like a tank.
Yeah.
And I use the nuclear bomb to take the tank.
A little overkill.
Nonsense.
It was the Hulk. The Hulk was in there. I'm telling you, guys. Seriously.
Well, it was Bruce Banner in the tank. Yeah. I had to get him before he became the Hulk.
Yeah, right. Okay. My next one is actually for a webcomic. Actually, the rest of mine are going to be webcomics. The first one is called Darken. It's a fantasy one, sort of set in a D&D world. But it follows the adventurers are all bad guys. One of them is like a dark elf who isn't like actively evil, but he's selfish and he's willing to betray people to not die.
So the average player.
Well, yeah, exactly. Okay. And then there's a sociopathic guy who's the disciple of some demon lord, and he's willing to kill anything that gets in his way of becoming the true acolyte of this demon lord. So again, typical player character. And all the other player characters are like, backstabbing, treacherous, and just a self-centered jerk. So typical player characters. And
use that for reference.
Yeah. The art's good, the story's interesting, and it's an enjoyable serial. And it's updates pretty frequently, a couple times a week. So yeah, there's that. Right. Next I have Minus, which is a really great fantasy webcomic about this little girl who basically she's omnipotent. She can do whatever she wants, this little girl, and she does very weird things. It's very humorous and very whimsical and sometimes terrifying. One comic, a balloon vendor won't give her a balloon, so she turns him into a balloon, and then he pops.
Oh.
Yeah.
Bitch. Bastard.
Yeah.
Give the girl her balloon, damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And the last one is Wonderella, which is a superhero comic. You would like it. Oh, yeah. It's about basically this Wonder Woman knockoff, Wonderella, who is not a very good superhero.
It's just anything like Stripperella?
No, okay. She doesn't take her top off, but she's not very good at superheroing. She's selfish, apathetic, doesn't pay attention to things that she should, and
something of a bimbo.
Well, not really. Just kind of like she's basically kind of like a player character.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not a gaming comic. It's just a superhero parody, but she has the attitude of the typical player character: self-centered, violent, short attention span.
I see. That's about right.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, so those are my remaining shout-outs. Tom, you had a...
Yeah, I do. I have one more. Well, I've been playing Oblivion. It's not Oblivion, Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Yeah.
And that's not my shout-out, but it's a kick-ass game.
Yeah.
But no, my shout-outs are to some mods I have downloaded.
Right.
Two in particular that have really blown me away. One is a set of armor someone added that looks like a red pyramid from Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. Pyramid Head.
Yeah, it's a full set of armor, which the boots, the skin wrap, then the skin apron,
right,
and the helmet. The guy made it look dead on.
Right.
And it has the great knife as a weapon. So the sword bigger, the rusty sword bigger than you.
It drags along the ground.
Yeah, that blew me away that he did that. I'm very impressed by that. But the one I'm most impressed with is one for Lichcraft.
Okay.
Which actually has adds a whole new thing to where you can become a lich.
Okay.
And done extremely well. I've seen some mods where there's a polymorph self mod out there that is really broken right now.
Okay.
It's so you can become any of the monsters or animals in the game, but you do, and the game locks up and freezes.
That's not good.
No, I mean he's still working on it. Looks really cool when it gets done, but this one seamlessly it turns you into like a undead skeleton with a black hood and robe,
okay,
and a sight, and like a soul stealing sight, and of course it has its drawbacks. I mean, it makes you powerful, but no one people will attack you on sight because you're an evil undead monster.
Aww.
Yeah, except in members of the Dark Brotherhood in the game.
Okay.
They still dig you.
Dark Brotherhood. I'm guessing that's like a group of
assassins.
I was going to say pacifists who protect puppies and kittens from bad things, but all right. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But no, kudos to the guy that designed that.
Okay.
Really.
Way to go, a random guy.
Who if I had really prepared for this, I would have remembered your name. Feel free, if you listen to this, to email us your identity. I will thank you in person.
Or I could just look it up and post it in the text summary of the thing.
Yeah, or Ross could be logical. In an illogical world, Ross will be logical.
I am the single bastion of logic.
Well, we're all screwed.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, no joke. Anyways, we got an anecdote left.
Yeah, actually, one of mine.
All right.
And we were going to record this on Sunday, but I couldn't because I had to run a very long game.
How many hours was it?
Oh, shit. We got together about 6, I want to say. And
you called me at 1:30 saying you couldn't make it. So I thought you were starting at 1:30.
Well, we all assembled. I see. Finally, people showed up. The first person showed up when I called you.
I see.
But anyway, shut your mouth. Who's telling the story? I mean,
all right,
the game went on till midnight.
Okay, 6 hours. That's pretty good.
Well, yes, for us, that's a pretty decent game. But
yeah,
Mutants and Masterminds, of course. And we are running a game where all the players are college students.
Okay.
Mostly, freshmen in Georgetown University. All right. Decided, who have superpowers and who have always believed that they were the only ones that had them.
Okay.
So suddenly they're all thrown together into this college dorm house. And first, it's funny because we do a lot of this role playing of having people with superpowers living in close proximity in a dorm.
Sure. I mean, that's basically the X-Men if you think about it. I mean, say teenagers with superpowers in a mansion,
Well, this is a shitty dorm in Georgetown University.
Same difference.
And of course,
the laundry room is like the danger room.
But they've never encountered a supervillain in their lives.
Yeah.
Most of them have had pretty soft American suburban lives. And suddenly supervillains start appearing. And they're the only ones who can take them down, and most of them have never thrown a punch in their life.
So what do these kids do with superpowers with that?
Well, you would probably imagine a bunch of, adolescent teenagers.
So how do they avoid getting detected before they,
sheer luck for the most part.
I see. Okay, well, anyways, what's the...
But the anecdote from this game is last night, before the actual major action started, the players decided they wanted sodas.
Okay.
So they popped down to a convenience store next to the campus, owned by a Korean guy.
Yeah.
And the Korean guy, this was just, I thought, convenience store, all right, I can't do a very good Indian accents, I can't do Apu, so I just okay.
Thank you, come again.
Yeah, well, that's really the only line I could do.
Okay.
So I decided, all right, make him a Korean guy, and for that I used the Japanese arms dealer voice from Vampire Bloodlines.
Okay.
Which was they show it. He says, "Welcome to my store. How may I help you?" So it was, and for some reason they latched on to this guy talking. They had a conversation with him that lasted 30 minutes of actual time. 30 minutes. They spent 30 minutes in the store just talking to the Korean guy. And the funny thing was, I never ran out of shit to say with him. It says, David, one of the players, is says, do you have any weenies? It says, we are well equipped with weenies. It says, and Aaron, of course, he basically just tried to make small talk and is like, so, you've been here long? I love America!
Okay, all right.
And it finally culminated with just as they finally got tired of it, or I just wanted to move things along.
Yeah.
They finally paid, and then David's character, who has the power of comprehend, so he can speak, read, and write all languages.
Yeah.
Said in Korean to him, it was like, "Well, have a nice day, honored store owner." He's like, "Says, I do not understand you."
All right.
And that actually caused a laughing break for 5 minutes. We had to take one of those breaks, like, all right, like wipe some tears from my eyes, like, okay, like, all right, let's regroup here.
Okay. That sounds like you were on a roll. Yeah, I could see.
Sometimes when I do funny voices in certain NPCs in game, they have more fun just having making conversation with them.
It reminds me when I ran a Mutants Masterminds game, Captain Daedalus. You were the player on that, and I just had him sort of be over enthusiastic. Yes, I'm Captain Daedalus. We're gonna kill these bad guys. Woo! Just you were one of the players in that. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I was playing. Yeah. I was playing a werewolf kind of character.
Yeah, and all the players loved Captain Daedalus, and they wanted to get him involved in all the action because I was just such.
Or I called him for scientific advice.
Yeah, exactly.
The actual Daedalus from the campaign setting of Mutants and Masterminds.
Yeah, he just had the enthusiasm of a drill sergeant beating a recruit fresh off the bus.
He doesn't really. Ross gave him that.
Yeah. I just like Daedalus, okay, he's a jackass. I didn't bother reading anything in the book whatsoever.
And God bless you, too.
So that's your tip for the day is, when in doubt, make an NPC talk funny, and the players will remember that. And,
I have another NPC that I basically model him after James Woods. And they love talking to... Well, actually, the way I designed him, they hate talking to him because he knows everything more than they do. And
yeah, kind of a Mary Sue almost.
Yeah, actually, kind of like remember his character from San Andreas?
Yeah,
the CIA agent.
Yeah,
kind of like that.
Okay,
it's like he just walks up to you like, I know 600 million times more than you do.
Yeah,
so just do what I tell you.
Right, but I mean, the players, of course, will be like, "Oh, he's a Mary Sue. Oh, it's the GM pet NPC who's going to."
Yeah, the funny fact, they think that a lot of people say he's like. I've actually had a player like he's like what? He's unstoppable. No one's ever really tried.
Right, they're afraid to.
Exactly,
he's got them quaking in their boots. You hear that, Aaron? You're beaten. You don't even know it. Yeah, and Aaron can't say anything because he doesn't have a mic.
Oh, he wants to come over and say something.
Oh, Aaron's getting up. All right, Aaron.
But are we almost out of time, Ross?
Well, there's sort of an arbitrary thing. Aaron, go ahead and give us your last
All right.
one.
Okay, who out there wants to hear Aaron say something else?
Come on, Aaron.
All right.
Yeah.
To my defense with this character that Tom is referring to, I usually give him a verbal shitstorm every time he comes into the room with it in our games when he shows up. Every single time that I can. There you go.
All right.
But yet still does whatever he's told.
All right. So that's the moral of the story. Talk like you own the room.
Like funny voice and fear.
Funny voice and fear. That's this has been episode 13, the awesome action-packed alliterative adventure. And,
funny voices and fear.
Funny voices and fear. One last thing. We're going to set up a forum on the website. So if you're a long-time user, give us your thoughts on which of these two campaigns ideas you'd like the most. The Horde and rocking ass in Japan.
In
or
Tokyo.
The sapient Atlantean dinosaurs tearing shit up in...
Tell us how you do it. Give us your thoughts on how you do these two ideas. We want to hear from you.
All right.
We will immortalize you forever if you do.
Yes.
On RPPR.
Yes, and this has been Ross Payton.